Hello, Rafe Heydel-Mankoo here. Now in the video you're about to see, I explain why the British Foreign Office, the body that's supposed to actually stand up for Britain, defend it and promote it, is actually ashamed by its history. Indeed, some of its diplomats actually want Britain to stop being a leader on the world stage and retreat to the backbenches of international diplomacy. Now, in this debate also, we are discussing whether the British government should abandon its absolutely magnificent Foreign Office building in London's Whitehall because it is too grand, too imperial looking, and has too many colonial paintings celebrating British history. Now, all of the defeatist, self-denigrating things that I've just mentioned are actually found in the conclusion of a major report that's just come out into problems at the Foreign Office compiled by senior diplomats. And all I can say is that our adversaries, countries like Russia and China, will be absolutely laughing at us. Those sorts of nations only respect strength and self-confidence. And we used to understand that in Britain and the West. Strong nations don't constantly fret and self-flagellate about their past. Our adversaries, places like Russia and China, see this as weakness, and they are right. The West has always been strongest when it showed strength, confidence, determination, and self-belief. And this, for example, played a major role in our victory over the Soviet Union. Today, however, it's clear for all to see that the West's current identity crisis, its constant introspection, guilt, and self-loathing are only accelerating its rapid decline. Anyway, enough from me. Here's the debate.
Right, some of the UK's most senior diplomats have recommended reducing the number of colonial paintings in the Foreign Office to try and modernise it.
OK, so a report by senior officials said the Foreign Office is somewhat elitist and rooted in the past. So, is it? Joining us now to discuss all of this, anti-racism activist Iman Aiton and royal historian and broadcaster Rafe Heydel-Mankoo. Rafe, do you see what they're getting at here? Do you see why the accusation is being levelled?
Look, a bit of interior decorating isn't going to solve the Foreign Office's woes. Let's get that straight. You know, the Mandarins who wrote this report into the problems at the Foreign Office don't seem to realize that they themselves are the problem. Because for the past quarter of a century, our institutions have been run by people who actually loathe Britain, who are embarrassed by our history and any expression or pride or patriotism. We've had essentially a long march through the institutions, and it's one that has completely captured all of our institutions. And the people who are now in place are a new elite, but they are a progressive liberal elite, not the sort of elites we think about of old conservative chaps going to Eton and so forth. The new elites that occupy these buildings bear no resemblance to the generations who built them and ran them for years. They're actually cuckoos in the nest. And in the case of the Foreign Office, of course, the rot set in much earlier. I mean, it's always been ashamed of Britain. You may remember there was a famous episode of the BBC comedy, Yes, Prime Minister, in the 1980s, when the Prime Minister, Jim Hacker, says the White House believed that the Foreign Office is full of communists and traitors, to which his private secretary, Bernard Woolley, says, well, not entirely full, Prime Minister. And then you remember, you know, Simon MacDonald last year, the former permanent secretary, said that he and his colleagues were in tears and crying when Britain voted for Brexit. And then, of course, after that, they were completely subservient and defeatist when it came to negotiations with Brussels. And now they're saying that Britain shouldn't project an image of greatness on the world stage. I mean, that says it all. They're embarrassed and ashamed of Britain, and we should actually be at the forefront in celebrating the fact that Britain invented the modern world, and the fact that there are so many democracies around the world is precisely because of the British Empire.
Iman, what would you see wrong with Rafe's argument there?
Well, I actually agree with the first point. So we're doing better, Rafe. We're starting to find ways that we can agree. Not always, but sometimes. Your first point about changing paintings, solving the problems of the Foreign Office, I agree. It won't solve all the problems with the Foreign Office, but it will help with inclusivity. It will help with making sure that anyone that comes into that office isn't feeling kind of dehumanized because of paintings that remind them of subjugation and murder and rape of the past, right? So it's about that inclusivity. This is why it's really important to change paintings. Will it make a difference overall in terms of the issues that they need to deal with and helping our country? No, but it will help with inclusivity. That's an aside. In terms of you saying that it's run by elitists, well, it is. Most organizations, most departments are. Elitism is centered around superiority in terms of qualities and skills, right? So I think it's safe to say Eamon's here today because of his skills, right? He would technically, one could argue, he is superior in his field. So every department in life, every institution that we have in Britain is run by elitism. So I actually don't have a problem with that. The reason why I have an issue is because when we decide to be elitist, for those that aren't white, we connect those things because it's just a fact. Elitism is superiority, which connects to British superiority, which connects or is associated with the British Empire. And the British Empire, with its superiority, is connected to the subjugation, exploitation, rape, torture, and murder of many people around the world. So when we talk about elitism, we're kind of talking about two separate issues. We've got a superior set of people with skills and qualities, which is a good thing in order to help us thrive. And then you've also got that elitism, which basically lacks diversity in thought. And the reason why we need diversity in thought in regards to the Foreign Office is because they deal with so many different types of communities, so many different types of people, so many different types of thoughts, right?
Better spent? No, and look, I don't disagree. Nobody should be dehumanised. Nobody should be feeling subjugated when they step into the Foreign Office. But wouldn't you prefer that the Foreign Office... That's not what you're saying.
No, I am. I just wanted, I'm so glad that you've validated my point. I just wanted to say, imagine walking into GB News right now and you saw like pictures on the wall of like women being like either beaten or
pictures of beatings in the Foreign Office. Yeah. And to be honest, I mean, there's plenty of minority issues I can gripe about.
Like. Sorry, can I just finish? I'm just giving you an example of what it would be like to walk into some type of office where your gender, your race, your age is demeaned, belittled, used as a means to give pride to others whilst you and your people have suffered. You probably
all
feel
I was
some
going to
type
say
of
was
way.
I hear that point, and I hear that point.
Defending.
Nobody should be subjugated, but wouldn't it be better if the Foreign Office was spending that money, that energy, that focus on perhaps tackling modern slavery, the issues we've got in China where there are Uyghurs being persecuted by the Chinese? That would be surely under the Foreign Office's jurisdiction, Rafe Heydel-Mankoo. Don't you think there are better things to be spending their time and energy on?
Absolutely, and I don't think Iman has actually ever been to the Foreign Office because, I mean, the images that she's depicting don't exist. I mean, the fact is these are wonderful works of art created by a Jewish Huguenot, a descendant of two suppressed minorities who escaped to Britain for a better life as refugees. These celebrate actually the history of Britain, bringing itself into a power state. May I please finish my point? Thank you so much. And it celebrates Britain actually, bringing many of the world's countries up to the level where they joined the League of Nations after the First World War. And so it's a celebration actually of Britain playing its part in improving the world, creating democracies around the world, and creating a system where actually we can have the sort of diplomacy rather than war that we have at the moment in time. And what are we saying? Are we saying that ambassadors are too fragile to walk past per painting? James Cleverly,
you just said that.
May I please finish my point? Right? You've had a long time to speak. I'm terribly sorry. Come on.
So have you. You've had more time than me, sir.
You'll both have your say. Don't worry. We'll make sure.
Thank you so much. And James Cleverly was asked about this because he walked past those paintings with the former president of South Africa, and he said neither of them were bothered by any of this. When the state opening of Parliament happens every year in Parliament, the French ambassador has to sit underneath a painting of Waterloo looking at another painting of Trafalgar. I mean, come on. There are much more important pressing issues around the world. The Chinese and the Russians will be laughing at us. Strong, confident nations don't constantly navel gaze and beat themselves up about their past, that they need to look forward and be champions for what Britain is best
There
at.
were fireworks behind you there. I'm not sure what that was all about, Iman. Was this because you agreed on a point there? There were thumbs up and then the fire, it was like the earth moved.
Thank you for realising that. I didn't want to distract anyone from your point, Rafe. You made a valid point that I agreed with, and I put my thumbs up and I saw fireworks and I got really excited. I do like fireworks. I do apologise. You make a valid point. I don't disagree with you. There are far more important things than paintings, guys, and I think we can all agree with that. However, I will also say that paintings are really important. I just want to make two really quick points, so I know we're running out of time. It's not about pride or having a problem with your pride. Pride is really important for self-esteem, for every human being, for every community. Pride is so important. And that's why I need pride as a Black person. So when I walk into an office, I don't want your British pride to diminish mine. And that is what I'm here to talk about, Rafe. You have your pride, no problem, sir. But if your pride diminishes my pride, if you want to hold on to statues, paintings, and whatever artifact you stole during the 50 the 50 countries in Africa that you colonized, if you want to steal things, if these are the things that give you your self-esteem, if these are the things that give you your pride, then now we have a problem.
Guys,
because
the
now
clock is
that means
beating
that
us.
you're affecting my pride, and you're
Thank
reminding
you.
me
We've been proud
of
to
the
have you both
subjugation of
on
the
this
past.
morning. Thank you both very much indeed.